So everyone is talking about magnesium, they're talking about vitamin D to boost immune system function for longevity, etc. But if you've already checked those boxes on some of those common supplements, what's next? What are some of the top longevity supplements? The truth is, most people are wasting a lot of money on supplements that really don't move the needle for addressing the hallmarks of aging. They don't really understand the nutrients that will really move the levers of aging and help you biologically get younger and younger. So today, my goal is to explore the compounds that actually turn longevity genes on. Sirtuins, AMPK, autophagy pathways, and all these other ones that are quietly being used by ultimately the top 1% of my friends, biohackers, longevity researchers worldwide. I wanted to give you some insights as to what we're doing and what some of the nutrients that we use in our longevity stacks are. A longevity stack are the types of supplements that you take, day in and day out. So longevity isn't just about more pills to take. It's really about the right molecules, the right nutrients that talk to your biology in the right way. Every nutrient communicates to your biology. So we want to communicate to our biology in a way that will help you stay young and healthy. So let's get started with some of the top supplement stack fails, okay? In 2022, Journal of American Medical Association did a meta-analysis of over 200 supplement trials, found that the majority of them had no measurable effect on mortality, inflammation, or disease. Why is this? It's because that they do not actually address really deficiencies inside the body. A lot of these supplements, they don't create activation of these longevity pathways. So think of your biology as a symphony. You can tune an instrument, but if you never conduct the orchestra, the music ultimately never plays. So longevity compounds don't just fill in the gaps, they turn on master regulators like what I shared before, AMPK, Sirt1, Sirt2, and the PGC1 alpha pathway that really control your cells, that help you burn fat out of your body and turn your body into an energy mitochondrial optimization machine. It also helps to remove cellular waste and environmental toxic bioaccumulation, and it ultimately helps with cellular renewal through autophagy and mitophagy, which is cellular turnover and mitochondrial recycling. So the difference between living a longer life and a better life isn't necessarily what you're dosing, it's the direction, it's the quality, it's the type of communication in nutrients that is telling your DNA, hey, live longer. Hey, this is a hormetic stressor, so you can get better and you can optimize, right? And the other thing I'll just say before I move on about this study is that a lot of these supplements, unfortunately, are very, very cheap, toxic supplements. They're not very good at all. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why people that take a lot of supplements just are creating expensive urine, for lack of a better term. So here's an overview of longevity pathways that I wanted to share. The key idea is we need to define why these pathways even matter. So every major scientist in aging research, from David Sinclair to Dr. Matt Kay, they come back to see and to look at a few biological switches. So those biological switches are as follows. There's Sirtuins, right? The Sirt pathways. These are longevity genes that are activated by caloric restriction. They're activated by NAD precursors, and various other things, okay? We're gonna get into that in a second. So that's a really big one that we talk about. Another one that we talk about in the research of longevity and living longer and healthier is AMPK. This is your body's energy sensor. It's activated by fasting, it's activated by exercise, it's very powerful pathway. And then you've got mTOR and autophagy. These are your cleanup and repair cycles of your body. And unfortunately, most people are overstimulating some of these pathways and understimulating some. other pathways. And so when you say overstimulate the mTOR pathway by eating all this sugar and all of these other things, you're going to accelerate aging. So the balance in the artistry of stimulating these different pathways is to essentially have a kind of a lock and spring mechanism where you activate one and then you give it one a break and you activate the other, etc. So these are switches that control your mitochondrial function, your DNA repair, and inflammation. It's the three ultimately biggest drivers of aging, those three pathways, the AMPK, the SIRT, as well as the mTOR. So instead of another kind of multivitamin, what I want to talk about in this video are the compounds that actually flip the switches on these particular pathways. So these are under the radar longevity compounds that are very powerful. The first one I want to talk about is hobamine, 2-HOBA. Okay, 2-HOBA does some amazing things in respect to the removal of a lot of free radicals that are in the body. And NIH study showed that you can actually dramatically decrease the free radicals in the body that are causing lipid peroxidation, which is the inflammation of your cellular membrane. And we all know in the longevity industry and the biohacking industry and the functional medicine industry that if your lipids, if your lipid bilayer, if your cellular membrane is inflamed, the inside of your cell's not going to work well. And you're going to turn disease pathways on. Nutrients aren't going to get into the cell very well. Toxins and various metabolic byproducts that are very carcinogenic and toxic aren't getting out of the cell. So 2-HOBA will help to get rid of some of those inflammatory markers and will ultimately preserve the free radicals that are healthy for your body, but get rid of the free radicals that are essentially downstream and damaging for your body. So in longevity, you actually want free radicals. Free radicals are important for longevity. A lot of people don't know this, but the downstream free radicals are typically more toxic and more damaging for the body. And so what 2-HOBA does is it helps to get rid of those free radicals that cause lipid peroxidation, but it also helps to get rid of a lot of the free radicals that create damage inside of the cells that drive mitochondrial dysfunction and even disease gene expression. Okay, so a lot of promise there with the 2-HOBA, but that's something that a lot of people are using. I know a supplement called Tailored Biosciences and the longevity stack that they have is very good for giving you a lot of the nutrients that I'm going to be talking about in this video, but also has 2-HOBA in it and will give you a lot of the other things that I'm going to talk about as well. And so of course you can take supplements in bottles in each individual bottle, but I do like figuring out a way, how can we stack these supplements? How can we stack these nutrients? So then we've got nicotinamide riboside, we've got NR, we've got NAD plus builders, right? Like nicotinamide riboside, as well as NMN. So your NAD plus levels, they decline up to 50% by the age of 50. That's crazy. I'll say that one more time. Your NAD levels will decline by up to 50% by the age of 50. NAD fuels your DNA repair, your mitochondrial energy production. It's very important inside your body, which is why it's so essential to maintain high levels of NAD, right? So in a 2022 Nature of Aging article, there was a human trial that was done on NMN supplementation. NMN supplementation raised blood NAD plus by 38% and improved insulin sensitivity in postmenopausal women within just 10 weeks, which is amazing, right? Typical clinical recommendations for NMN is that you would take 250 to 500 milligrams a day, or you would take nicotinamide riboside daily as well. So if you pair this with exercise or cold exposure, right, like cold plunging or cryotherapy or even cold showers or something like that, it can really help to amplify NAD plus turnover and the health of NAD. So NAD plus is your cellular currency of youth, right? NMN is how you refuel that account. it's how you rebuild the NAD plus account. Okay, so NMN and NR are really good precursors to boost NAD plus. You can actually get NAD and NAD plus injections as well. I had done a longevity event at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando, Florida that I put on, and I got an injection halfway through the event, and it was like boom, like it was like lights on. It was pretty crazy. All right, so the next thing is Spermidine. This is an autophagy triggering molecule. Spermidine activates autophagy. It's the same cellular recycling trigger that is triggered by fasting, okay? So in 2021, Cellular reports, they came out with a paper that showed that Spermidine extended lifespan in multiple models by promoting mitophagy as well as autophagy. Mitophagy is the turnover of mitochondria. Mitophagy is ultimately the cleanup of damaged and non-proper functioning mitochondria, if you would. So in humans, a 2022 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition linked higher dietary spermidine intake with all-cause lower mortality rates. So this was a study that was done over a 20-year period of time. So this is very exciting information. So what we're typically looking for is to take around 1 to 2 milligrams daily, and you get it from wheat germ, extracts of natto, but there's a lot of different ways that you can get this. Obviously, you can take different supplements that have spermidine in it as well. But spermidine ultimately tells your cells, clean up before you get clogged up, right? Clean up that junk, clean up those cells, get rid of the senescent cells, get rid of the cells that are not healthy, that are aging, and clean up before you get clogged up, right? So the next ingredient, the next supplement that stimulate longevity pathways is Urolithin A, right? I have Urolithin A right now all over my face. Urolithin A is also in a lot of different products. It's also in that one product called, the Ultimate Longevity Stack by Tailored Biosciences, I think is the company name. And so Urolithin A is essentially a mitochondrial rebuilder. Urolithin A is made from pomegranate polyphenols, essentially. And what it does is it essentially interacts with your gut microbiota, and your gut microbiota will take the pomegranate polyphenols and then create Urolithin A out of it, right? In 2020, JAMA Network came out with this article that showed that older adults taking 500 to 1,000 milligrams of Urolithin A daily improves their mitochondrial gene expression, their muscular endurance, and all of these other really great biological markers after just 4 months, right? Huge improvement. And so that's measurable mitochondrial rejuvenation without exercise or anything like that. It's literally just taking Urolithin A. So Urolithin A ultimately repairs the battery, right? It repairs your mitochondria. It's one of those mitochondrial boosters to help maximize the health of your mitochondria. And it keeps your muscles young, right? We know that is one of the key elements to aging, right? The next nutrient I want to talk to you about is AKG, right? AKG is alpha ketoglutarate. It's the epigenetic timekeeper. Alpha ketoglutarate sits at the heart of the Krebs cycle. It's your cellular energy loop. And a 2020 cellular metabolic study by the Buck Institute, what they found is that researchers at the Buck Institute found that alpha ketoglutarate extended lifespan and reversed biological age markers in mice by improving methylation balance and reduced inflammatory cytokines, which is huge. So AKG is very powerful. In humans, preliminary studies have shown improvement in bone density, in muscle recovery, and you're getting that at literally taking just 1 to 2 grams per day of AKG. So it's not hype. It's an early look at metabolic age reversal, which is very exciting and one of those nutrients that is really powerful to take. So alpha ketoglutarate is like a time regulator, right? It slows the hands of your cellular clocks down. which is a really important thing. So we've talked a lot about these amazing nutrients, but some of the most powerful nutrients that you can take are what they call senolytics. You don't take them all the time. You take them in pulses, but they're like zombie cell sweepers, right? They get rid of the senescent cells out of your body. And the reason why you get rid of these senescent cells is because one senescent cell will tell another senescent cell to senesce, right? To become old. And the more senescent cells you have, the positive feedback loop gets created to then create more inflammation, more sepsis, which is like a byproduct of these senescent cells that get secreted from the cells that then go and tell other cells to become malfunctioning. So senescent cells are not like freeloaders. They don't just die, they drain your energy. They stay alive. They should be dying, they should be turning over, but they drive a ton of inflammation inside of the body. Well, what can we do about it, right? Natural things are like, saunas and cold plunge and fasting, right? That triggers autophagy that can help with cellular turnover and can create a senolytic effect, right? But there are senolytic nutrients that also can help. These are nutrients that clear them out of your body. In a 2020 eBio magazine pilot trial in humans, what they did is they combined ficitin with dasatinib, right? These are two really powerful senolytic ingredients. It's ficitin and dasatinib. And what it does is it reduced markers of senescent cells, senescent cell burden, and improved physical function in older adults. So quercetin alone has been shown some really similar but milder effects, which is why I think in your senolytic stack that you take, you should also add quercetin to it. But this is the safe clinical rhythm. What I do is I take it for 2 days per month, and you take it 2 consecutive days, one after another, once a month. And you typically want to do that with professional supervision. You want to have them kind of overseeing what's going on to make sure that you're dialed in and that you're not, there's no issues going on. So again, senolytics, they don't just slow down aging, they help shed it literally out of your body by getting rid of the senescent cells and really stimulating some really good turnover in your body. So now I want to talk about some other things a lot of people don't know about around longevity. I want to talk about peptides. I want to talk about bioregulators. I want to talk about the repair codes. So we're entering ultimately this new frontier of longevity healthcare. And what's exciting is that signaling peptides and organ-specific bioregulators like mTOR and other ones, they can do some amazing things inside the body. mTOR, it activates AMPK. It enhances fat metabolism. It helps increase insulin sensitivity in obese and overweight individuals, according to a human trial done in Cell Reports in 2021. And it's just an amazing peptide that can do wonders for your body. SS31, which is a really powerful peptide, affects the mitochondria from oxidative stress as well. And the early clinical data shows that it improves cardiac output and even exercise tolerance, which is really cool. Capsaicin bioregulators are essentially small peptide fragments from Russia, and they have shown really powerful results in long-term observational studies. They reduce mortality, they improve organ regeneration, and these are studies that have done through trials in the West, right, in America. And it's some really powerful stuff that's been going on. More trials need to be done, but I believe that these are the future of cellular precision medicine, and we're going to be able to customize these peptides, these bioregulators for you in the future, and really be able to get very clear on what you need for your cellular health. So again, peptides aren't magic; they're messages. All they are messengers. Right? They're like messages, just like nutrients are, just like the supplements we've been talking about are. They're messages to your cells that your cells need to hear, and they've been waiting to hear to stay young again. They're saying, stay young, stay young. That's what these peptides can communicate. So how the heck can we personalize all this? How do we personalize mitochondrial health and methylation and muscle building and these other things that are essential for optimal health and vitality? Here's how you match your supplements to your biology. So if your energy is low, you want to typically focus on NMN, Urolithin A, and coenzyme Q10, right? And this is just, by the way, very basic. I always like to get labs on everyone. So I would consult a doctor or somebody that you're working with that would be able to help you navigate this in a more customized fashion. But I'm just giving you some basic recommendations on what people do for different things. So, just assume that my, legal disclaimer is that you should probably work with some professional that knows what they're talking about as you're going through this process. But these are things clinically that I've seen work with my patients. So if your inflammation is high, you could also use Spermidine, Ficitin, or alpha ketoglutarate. Those are really good things that will be able to help. Again, you want to stack it 2 days for the Spermidine and Ficitin in those or not the Spermidine, but the Ficitin is the Senolytic that you want to take in a smaller dose over a 2-day period of time. So if your muscle or your recovery is lagging, then you want to add creatine. You want to take MOTC, right? You want to look at a leucine-rich protein diet that will help with recovery. But ultimately, the future is personalized longevity. It's not guessing, it's measuring. It's looking at mitochondrial function. It's looking at inflammatory biomarkers. It's looking at methylation biomarkers and age. And so your biological age, your biology, and when you look at this data, it's like your map, and it'll help you understand what supplements you should take, and it'll guide you like a compass to helping you reach the quote unquote promised land of longevity. So again, not all supplements are created equal. You wanna ultimately look for supplements that are high quality. Okay, so what you want to look for is supplements that have had some sort of human clinical data on it, not just animal models, right? That's what we're seeing with the HOBA. That's what we're seeing with the Spermidine. That's what we're seeing with a lot of the things that we just talked about in this conversation that we're having around these nutrients that can help. Third-party purity testing, right? You want to make sure that they're tested at a very high level as well. So if they're not tested, seriously, you gotta be careful. I'm gonna tell you something really crazy right now. This is like really almost emotional. It is emotional. I met this guy, had a really good connection with this guy, amazing human being, loved his heart, beautiful person, right? And this guy is in his early 40s. He's, he looks healthy, right? And is really into health and wellness. I see him at all these health and wellness longevity events, and we just click, like really. And he was encouraging me. He sent me these videos. It was like, I'm like, who is this guy? Amazing human being. Long story short, I get a call up the next week, and my friend is like, hey, this gentleman that we're connected with, he died. And this is just recently, guys. It was crazy. Like, this is absolutely crazy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this guy was healthy. I knew that he'd done a lot of the same lab testing that we've done, yada, yada. And what had happened was he ran out of a specific supplement. So he wanted to get it quickly off of Amazon, a different one to help bridge the gap for the products that he wanted to use. He took this supplement. He started getting tachycardia, and he died of of cardiac arrest. And it was probably some cheap supplement on Amazon, and he died of a heart attack. And it was from taking the supplement. And so I say that to say we've got to be careful with this longevity space. We've got to be careful with experimenting and longevity hacking. I'm going on the fringe. I'm going to, inject somebody else's blood into my eyeball or whatever. Like, we got to be careful with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I tell you that story because it shocked me. Now I'm actually being even more cautious. Like, I do fringe stuff sometimes. I'm being even more cautious. I'm doing less fringe stuff. I push the limit, but there's like a gray area that I don't pass now, and I'd be happy to pass it before. But I've got 4 kids, beautiful wife. I want to continue to add value to you. And that was just a crazy, crazy thing that happened. So rest in peace, Stephen. Man, I just, my prayers and heart go out to him and his family. So again, third-party test for purity. Make sure I'm with my supplements. I'm going above and beyond that. I'm getting them toxicity tested as well. So we're looking to have them non-toxic certified. And so the other thing that you want to look at is other forms of the use of these supplements. You could get them in powder form. Some of them you can get in Whole Foods form. Some of them you can get in USP form. Some of them you can get them through liposomals. Some of them you can get them in through transdermal. I've got a glutathione spray by Aura, A-U-R-O, I believe, Oro, that I just spray on my forearm, and then I essentially put glutathione in my body every day through the transdermal. But these are different ways that you can integrate these supplements into your regimen. Obviously, some of these peptides you could take sublingually. You can take them now through something that we're looking at now is peptide patches, where you just put the patch on and then they go into your body without having to use needles. And then of course, I just injected myself with some of the peptides that I'm cycling in and out of just a second ago before I got on this video, because I wanted to be sharp for you, wanted to crush it for you. So I jacked up all these peptides, just joking, just one. But these are powerful, right? So here's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid some of these supplements that don't go into a lot of detail on where they're sourcing from and where they're getting a lot of these from just sketchy sources, right? Like, I know that Tailored Biosciences and Aura and some of these other companies, right? They source from the highest quality sources from around the world, right? So don't buy hype, right? Ultimately, what you want to do is buy the things that will help you maximize your health for life. You want to buy data. You want to buy products that are very that are backed and that are supported by the top scientists and clinicians and researchers out there. So the last thing we're going to talk about is integration. How do you build your own longevity stack? You don't need 20 supplements. You don't need 50 supplements. I take a lot of supplements, but you need the right supplements, right? This is one of the reasons why I love, the stacks that you can get that are literally in cup form. That's why I love the Ultimate Longevity Stack from Tailored Biosciences. I like some of these other supplements that are out there that I take in powdered form. But ultimately, if you just take some of these supplements, these 5 supplements, and you stack them with purpose, right, it can be really good. So this is what it could look like. You could take NMN, right, or nicotinamide riboside in the morning with Urolithin A. That will help with energy, repair, boost your mitochondrial function. Midday, you could take Spermidine and alpha ketoglutarate. That will help to stimulate autophagy and optimize methylation pathways in your body. And then monthly, you want to take that Fisetin and Dasatinib, which is that Senolytic reset. And if you take a Senolytic product like from Neurohacker Collective, right, you can take the box that I take for my Senolytic, just 2 days a month. Really good product there. And so ongoing, you could look at peptides and bioregulators, but you want to cycle them, and you don't want to be on peptides all the time. You don't want to just overstimulate your cells. It's like, you know, sugar. If you eat too much sugar, you can overstimulate your cells, saying that, like, you know, that you're metabolically dysregulated and that your cells should downregulate receptor sites on the cellular membrane. You don't want to do that. Same with peptides, bioregulators. You want to cycle them. So you can also stack a lot of this stuff with sleep, you know, healthy sleep, with resistance training, with a whole food-based nutritional diet, the healthy protein. These are all things that can rewrite the aging process biologically and really slow the process of biological dysregulation. So the future of supplementation, you know, it isn't, you know, how many more supplements can I take? It's all about precision. So thank you again for watching. I want to give you one last call to action, and that is that you don't necessarily need to overwhelm yourself with all these different things. Like, there are simple things that you can do. Keep plugged into my channel, subscribe, you know, click the bell button to get notified for future videos, but you don't need to do everything, right? You don't need to do what Brian Johnson is doing, right? That's an N of one approach. What I'm doing is an N of one approach to me, which is why I've got one of the top biological age scores in the world, and I'm continually biologically getting healthier and healthier every year that passes. You want to look at your stack. What are your supplements that you're taking, and then fill in what you're not taking that you should be taking. So ultimately, you could start with one product. You could just start with NMN. You could start with Spermidine. You could start with Urolithin A. But you want to track your energy. You want to track your recovery. I find a massive difference in my health and vitality when I take these supplements. And you want to focus on maybe taking one of these supplements for 15 days. Just see how it works inside your body, right? Stack the other supplement on top of it. See how it works for you. So again, if this has helped you, if you want to optimize your health, longevity, you want your friends to optimize their health, longevity, please share this with other people. I think it will help to change and transform their health and their trajectory of their lives. And I just want to thank you so much for being here and watching this video. Thank you so much, and God bless. We'll talk to you soon.